Hello, we're back again. The stream got interrupted for some reason. Interesting. Okay, we are back. Um, okay. I'm trying to like navigate this interface. I almost said shitty interface. I'm currently using OBS. It's kind of good for like recording, but I'm very much new to streaming, so we're figuring this out as we go. Bye bye. Okay. Okay, let's go. Yeah, so we were apparently that didn't like properly record or like go through or whatever. But we were doing some research on like how to instantiate the business that we're trying to build, which is basically a business centered around creating an information layer for agents, a reliable, relevant information layer that agents can actually trust, so that they, for one thing, get relevant context whenever they need it. Another thing, don't get prompt injected by irrelevant sources that are trying to do some crazy stuff, because like the internet is getting wilder and wilder by the day. It's just that a lot of people don't know, or like they don't care, but like the internet is becoming more agentic, and the more agentic it becomes, the more important such a layer actually becomes for solving those problems. So right now this doesn't feel like a real problem, but that's only because a lot of people just aren't using agents at all. But again, like it's coming. Trust is coming. Anyway, we were doing like some research on like what to actually build. So the idea came to something like this, which is effectively a simple orchestration layer that is basically agents doing stuff. They could either ingest data and then save or get it from raw PDFs, or they could go about using Playwright to crawl websites and then get information from targeted external websites. And all of this is being orchestrated from hardware on like Mac Minis or whatever. Again, I currently don't really have Mac Minis to be like doing this. So hello, I don't have Mac Minis to be doing this currently, so I'm just going to be building this partially by using the model providers. So model providers are going to be helping me with this, but yeah, it's going to be like an information layer for agents, and it's going to be awesome. And you can like feel free to steal my idea. That would just be validation on my part. Like I would honestly be getting validated on how good the idea is, because the more you think about it, the more you understand it, right? Like it's, you genuinely need like agents. Literally, if all you need to look at is this 5.6 million tokens, and then you look at this, so $30 per million output tokens, and that's when you start understanding how crazy these token costs can get. And this is just for like simple research tasks. You don't need to spend that much, right? When I tell you the information sources that this is citing probably could have been summarized to like a few distinct points, and most of it was probably like HTML tags anyway that were like uncleaned and like unsummarized. Like, you understand, like all of that data could have been gotten from like a reputable source. It could have been like cleaned data that they finally they could access, like not by crawling the web, and like going past like a bunch of irrelevant sources by like finding like the one relevant source. It could have been exactly like that, and yet they didn't, right? They had to crawl all these different sources, and that flooded the context with like so much BS. And that's why we currently have this situation. And this would be, if I was like using GPT 5.5, it would be a lot. It would be almost $200. That's crazy. Anyway, let me just say I'm glad I'm not using GPT. So the idea is simply to build the ingestion layer, to build the orchestration layer, and then to build the MCP layer, which is going to be exposed to agents externally. If we want to do this the right way, we would focus on the ingestion layer, which is basically the part that uses the Playwright headless servers to scrape websites. That's what we would use at first. I think MCP would probably be the last thing, right? Like the agent, exposing it to like external agents would be the last thing we do. So let's read through this. Exposing proprietary tools and user data to autonomous agents requires airtight security. This is very much true. MCP servers are classified as OAuth 2.0 resource servers. Okay. And securing them requires strict adherence to the OAuth 2.1 authorization code grant flow, heavily utilizing proof key for code exchange to bind authorization codes to specific clients and prevent interception. Interesting. When an unauthorized AI agent attempts to access an MCP tool, okay, e.g. executing a command to read a customer database, the MCP server intercepts the request, verifies the absence of valid JSON web token. Okay, this is fine. So this is how they would authenticate, right? The fact that they actually can use the service, which makes sense. Rolling a custom authentication server involves managing dynamic client registration, an enormous distraction for a solo founder. I love how I'm getting called a solo founder. That's because it's true. The best practice is delegating this entirely to specialized identity servers like Stitch, Auth2, Auth0, or ScaleKit. Interesting. Through dynamic registration, your AI agents are automatically onboarded by the authorization server. The user is presented with a standard web consent screen detailing the exact scopes requested, mapped directly to specific actions. Interesting, okay. And then obviously it's going to be like the monetization aspect. Once the infrastructure is built and securely connected, the solo founder must implement a frictionless monetization system. Listen, if we're not building like on top of some kind of stable coin no, I'm kidding. Building custom, like it could be like a simple billing system like OpenAI credits, right? Billing logic, writing middleware to handle webhooks, caching. That's not very good. Traditional flat rate SaaS subscriptions are often inadequate due to highly variable compute costs associated with LLM input and output token generation. Instead, the dominant financial model is usage-based or utility pricing, where customers are billed strictly for what they consume, or a hybrid model combining a base subscription quota with metered overages. It's pretty solid. Requires a sophisticated credit system that balances cost protection with revenue generation. Charging directly for per request is fundamentally flawed because operations vary wildly in computation expenses. A simple database read may take 5 milliseconds, while triggering an autonomous research agent could consume massive context windows over several minutes. To solve this, the founder must abstract the monetary value into proxy unit, the credits. By decoupling the consumption unit from the monetary unit, the founder can assign weighted values to different actions. For example, a basic API endpoint might cost 1 credit, while invoking a complex MCP tool cost 500 credits. Customers purchase credit bundles, $1 per 1,000 credits, allowing the founder to easily adjust the backend credit cost of extensive features without needing to change the outward facing. I think the nice thing about this as well is that like it allows us to do like some kind of dynamic pricing based on the scale of activity that we're seeing at any point in time, or the scale of activity that we expect to see. So we could charge more based on like if there's like more people around, right? Then like we obviously will charge more because there's more demand. But this is pretty cool. Gateways and merchants of record. You know, this is one thing I keep hearing about. It's X402. I'm just like, but that's like, it seems like it's trying to facilitate like agent to agent payments. Agents need a way to discover services. We launched agentic.market to give agents discovery layer to find and integrate X402 services seamlessly. That's interesting. Holy. What is this? This is kind of cool. Okay. 0.01 per use. But the nice thing about Exa is like I used to use this, and at first it felt like a simple search tool, but like now it's turning into like some crazy thing. I can't believe they also have access to Banker. That's insane. Deepgram for like voice. That's pretty cool, man. Firecrawl. What is this? And these agents are paying in crypto, of course. It's like session based. Oh, interesting. Okay. Wow. This is a really cool visualization. It's like for every few agents you have like a lot of humans. That's really cool. This web market is operated by Coinbase and is not an official product of the X402 Foundation. When the providing this web page nevertheless in the marketplace is for information purposes and does not constitute. Interesting. In collaboration with Google Cloud. X402 seems like something that's almost inevitable, honestly. I've been hearing about this for like a good portion of like 8 months, 9 months. The first time I heard about this I was very excited, but apparently X402 has like always existed, and it was like this thing that no one actually used, or no one actually like took seriously, because we just didn't have like what could possibly orchestrate payments without like a bot. You couldn't trust a bot to do that because payments could like change, like, you know. So yeah, this is kind of cool. Yes, this is absolutely relevant to my search. I have to say X search kind of sucks. But yeah, I mean, there's also these new payment providers and facilitators, and I've never heard of Zoopla before. I've heard of this new one. It's not called Ridge. What is it called? Yeah, I forgot. But yeah, they also handle payments. Actually, there's like a lot of guys who handle payments these days. Platforms like Zoopla operate at the edge, acting as a single source of truth for API traffic rather than maintaining separate metering services and custom enforcement logic that inevitably drift out of sync. Zoopla intercepts every incoming request. The founder simply attaches a monetization policy directly to the API route. Zoopla automatically manages identity, validates the API key, increments the usage meter in real time, based on the sorry. Okay, we can just skip this one. The merchant of record to handle the actual financial transaction payment processing and immense burden of global tax compliance. The founder integrates an MOR. So there is a transaction fee, there is a usage billing based or utility fee, and then there's a developer experience fee. For the technical API driven product, PolarSage serves as an optimal MOR. It provides a comprehensive suite of billing primitives accessible via a single API. Polar utilizes a three-step model, ingesting multiple event records containing customer ID, aggregating those events via meters, and billing against those on the next invoice. A crucial feature of Solo Founders is Polar's meter credits benefit. When a customer purchases a specific tier, this automated benefit seamlessly injects a predefined block of credits into their account, allowing the founder to instantly offer free trials or onboarding bonuses without writing any custom crediting logic via webhooks. I think I'm pretty excited about this part actually. The most exceptional product architecture is irrelevant if it lacks distribution. This is so true. I was watching a podcast and like obviously who was on the podcast? It was Roy Lee. Like I arguably a master of distribution, even though he says he spends only like 2 hours a week on content or like 4 hours a week or something like that, which is like unbelievable because you always see him on X. But he's one of those narrative attractors, so yeah, and it's pretty cool. As a deciding factor in their success, because the solo founder cannot manually execute outbound sales while simultaneously building the product, they must apply the concept of digital labor arbitrage. This involves leveraging highly capable, low-cost autonomous agents to execute complex business processes that traditionally required expensive human labor. To be honest, me live streaming this feels like digital labor arbitrage as well. Because this is just gonna exist on the internet, and one day someone's gonna like rewatch this, and they're gonna be like, "Holy shit, this was like what he was doing on the come up," and this totally validates like everything he was working on this entire time, and it's gonna be really cool. Like this will validate literally everything that I was working on, like this entire time. Like I'm gonna rewatch this maybe in the future and I'm gonna look at this and I'm gonna be like, what the hell was I doing? I should have done this or that. And it's gonna be funny to me, even though it's a little bit funny to me right now, because understanding my own nature, I understand that is exactly what I would do. I would be super critical about what I'm doing right now. I'll be like, you could have done this or that. Come on, you could have been working at your full potential. The strategy exploits the gap between raw compute costs and the high value of strategic business outcomes. Interesting. For example of this arbitrage is automating client acquisition on freelancer platforms and job boards. Whatever. Turn application body design, complexly structured Google Doc proposal outlining a specific technical solution. A mermaid diagram illustrating the proposed system architecture for the workflow, instantly providing massive perceived value. Recently pushed to the founder via a Telegram notification. How the hell would we get their number? The founder acts merely as the final editor, spending 2 minutes reviewing the internal context before submitting the bid. The systematic approach removes the psychological drain of the blank page, generating consistently regardless of the founder's fatigue level, and frequently results in response rates exceeding 30% because the agent handles 80% of the creation process. The founder effectively places their earnings on autopilot, generating pitch decks and proposals while engaging high-ticket B2B sales. This feels a bit BSy, but it kind of makes sense, right? Basically, it's just like understanding how to sell this product to people. Okay. These are all the sources. Mind you, it probably like swallowed up all of these website sources, like all of the HTML. We could visit like one of them just to see how they. Who are you? I've never seen you playing soccer. Oh, you're just a model. Okay, good to know. Like we could view the page source and like this is the page source. No, all I want to do is inspect and literally see all the lines. If you were to copy like all of this data, these are all like tokens that would go to some model that would read all of this information and be like, no, there's way too much information here, right? How much data could this have saved if it literally just like, literally we did something like this, right? We copied and pasted this into, and again this is just for visualization purposes. Oh, by the way, I was thinking up some names for so summarize this into a paragraph of 200 tokens. Maybe 200 is a bit too few. 400 tokens maximum. See this? But this would have been like a lot of tokens. If we open up the OpenAI tokenizer, this is apparently for GPT-5. There's like 4,000 tokens here. And now we summarized it into something that was more like 500 tokens. And we still managed to retain a lot of information. You get why this kind of service would be like super valuable. And this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. Okay. This is pretty cool as well. Okay. The view to lag ratio on this is insane. Here, yeah, this is literally the thing we saw like a few moments back. Why is the Department of War doing this?
Emergency message. Outbreak of the deadly virus is spreading rapidly.
A virus?
A worrying new challenge in efforts to contain the hantavirus.
All we want right now is to feel safe.
For now, nobody is being allowed off the boat.
All ships must remain at sea.
Have fun! My booze!
It's the same disease that killed Betsy Arakawa, the wife of late actor Gene Hackman.
According to the newspaper, FEMA was called out to manage an outbreak of the hantavirus. I'm saying it wasn't the hantavirus.
They're buying it. They're buying it.
Your father and I were recruited for a project. They told us it was biological warfare, a virus. What killed those men? A silent weapon for a quiet war.
Okay. We are in, okay, like you're getting some stuff about like some hantavirus. By the way, we seem to be having a viewer that's, hello. I kinda like this guy because like he's very controversial.
Emergency message. Outbreak of the deadly virus is spreading rapidly.
A virus?
A worrying new challenge in efforts to contain the hantavirus.
All we want right now is to feel safe.
For now, nobody is being allowed off the boat.
All ships must remain at sea.
Have fun! My booze!
It's the same disease that killed Betsy Arakawa, the wife of late actor
What
Gene
an
Hackman.
intense thing.
According to the newspaper, FEMA was called out to manage an outbreak of the hantavirus. I'm saying it wasn't the hantavirus.
They're buying it. They're buying it.
Your father and I were recruited for a project. They told us it was biological warfare, a virus. What killed those men? A silent weapon for a quiet war.
Royalty Valhalla is pretty insane. protéger public. I love when he starts like speaking. I don't ask it's alright.
Just to deconstruct the two images and be able to see what they're looking at in the future. So again, this is what they're using. This is one of the main ones they're using, the Orion Cube as they call it, or the cube. And also it's being used with looking glass.
Okay.
Title personality, so that summarizes what I say here.
It's pretty insane. That is pretty cool. That is pretty intense. Like, this is the type of shit that gets recommended to me on my X. You know, just a bunch of schizo shit that genuinely should terrify anyone. But according to this guy, this is trying to position Trump as some kind of crazy leader.
Ça, c'est le sourire nerveux de la révélation. Il y aura des feux tirés dans la salle. Il pouvait pas être plus direct. Et elle dit bien la salle. Ballroom, qui est égal à 34 et 47 en gématria. Le nom du suspect, Cole Allen, même résultat. Et les vidéos de surveillance sont floues comme d'habitude. Encore une fausse fusillade, comme l'oreille de Trump qui n'a jamais été touchée, ou l'impact sur Charlie Kirk qui sortait son t-shirt. Et oui, comme le dit Trump, le spectacle doit continuer. Évidemment, on regarde une pièce de théâtre. Oz Perlman, l'illusionniste, fait un tour de magie juste à côté de Trump. Trump qui s'était posté lui-même en magicien le 12 avril. Parce que tout ça, c'est de la magie noire. Et les acteurs ne s'arrêtent jamais. Erika Kirk dans son rôle de pleureuse, comme d'habitude, qu'on a déjà vu se gratter les yeux en coulisses, pour forcer les larmes. Et il y a 2 jours, CNN publie un article. Comment mettre en scène une tentative d'assassinat. Rituel codé pour renforcer le narratif de la révélation. Il avait 53 ans. En gématria, son nom est égal à 53. Et il est mort exactement 53 jours avant la sortie du film Disclosure Day de Spielberg. Le 20 avril, jour de l'anniversaire d'Adolf Hitler. Hitler est égal à 303 en gématria. Et Wilcock est d'ailleurs mort dans le code postal 303. Ces derniers streams duraient 3 heures, 33 minutes et 53 secondes. Il mentionne recevoir un tips de $333.
That's crazy.
Et son pseudo se termine par 333. Coïncidence impossible. Wilcock disait lui-même que le cinéma utilise des révélations codées pour obtenir le consentement du public.
Alleged science fiction has been embedding the truth in these storylines.
Regardez Fly Me to the Moon. Il prépare un faux alunissage tourné en studio.
Shoot a little picture, something showing us, up there.
Et ce projet secret s'appelle Artemis.
Artemis version.
You mean to fake it?
Et Artemis 2 vaut aussi 333. David était l'archétype parfait du mouvement New Age, poussé par des médias mainstream comme History Channel et Gaia, pour nous préparer au narratif extraterrestre. Spielberg, avec des films comme E.T. et Ready Player One, nous montre un double programme. D'un côté la fausse invasion extraterrestre et de l'autre la révélation, par son contrôle divin sur l'humanité.
Yo.
Ça, c'est moi. Et là, c'est moi aussi. Non, je fais pas partie de l'élite, mais très jeune, j'étais photographe pour des magazines de luxe. Et quand tu vas au même genre d'événement, tu recroises toujours les mêmes figures. J'ai bossé plus de 15 ans dans l'image, la mode, la musique. Au début, je voulais juste faire ma place, utiliser... Elle attend la validation dans son oreillette. Et c'est là qu'elle se dit que tout ce cirque est allé trop loin. Capsule de feu à 40 000 km/h. Et comme par hasard, au moment le plus critique, blackout. Et à la place, on nous sert cette simulation, suivie de quelques glitches. Peut-être parce qu'en fait, elle a été parachutée par un avion cargo. Ce qui expliquerait pourquoi on n'a pas de vapeur à l'amérissage. En 10 jours, on a eu des glitches pendant les lives. Des fonds qui deviennent transparents, avec des marqueurs de suivi. D'ailleurs, ce live a été supprimé par la NASA. Sur ce sachet, on a un marqueur rouge qui disparaît. C'est un repère de tracking, utilisé pour coller un objet 3D. Ici, la peluche n'a pas d'ombre. Et les vêtements de Christina ont des gros bugs. Et visuellement, soit des vidéos floues et déformées, soit des images de synthèse beaucoup trop nettes. Des fois sans étoiles, des fois avec, parce qu'ils se sont pas encore mis d'accord depuis 1969. C'est pour ça qu'il demande de l'aide à son coéquipier. Un peu comme Don Petit, regardez Mike. Parce qu'au final, tout dépend du designer. L'espace est fait dans un logiciel de création 3D. Tu fais une sphère, t'ajoutes de la texture, puis des vecteurs et de la lumière. Un amateur te fait ce genre de rendu pour $100. Alors imagine ce que la NASA fait pour 25 milliards par an.
What? Okay, buddy. Let's keep going. We wandered into some crazy schizo stuff. Excuse me. So, yeah, I think we finally have like a solid plan. We should just like get going, honestly. I wanna add some music going. Let's keep going. 303 de la musique. By the way, let's copy this as text. I like saving these in like documents because sometimes chat history just like goes missing. You never really knows where it goes, right? Like you just never know. Okay, I should have just like copied it as text. I wonder if I copy it as markdown. It's literally going to paste as mark. That's actually horrendous. Okay, I'll turn this into like a title. Add a new tab and then just like add the thing progressively. This will be something we look to for like, you know, how do I copy everything as text? No, I didn't copy the entire thing. Okay, let's go. I kinda like that accent. Not the accent, but like the language. The what you call 333. Okay. Hey. In high school, I used to like battle rap with my friends. I was kind of good actually. You know, those were times where like everything was like easier because you didn't have to worry about whether or not you were like an unemployed adult who just was not like was NGMI. You know? Okay, this is good now. Kinda wanna. I wonder if. Can you check out these tabs and auto style these sections? It's currently all text. I wanted sections out properly with tables represented as tables and such. That's probably fine. Bye. And it literally did it. Holy shit. Holy fuck. That's crazy, dude. Insane. See, this is why Gemini is like super likable. I need you to do the same for this tab, please. Okay. Yeah, we'll accept all of these changes, even though we don't even know like what most of them are. We'll accept them. So it's pretty obvious. We'll just follow this timeline, and again, we are not going to follow it like to the T, but we are going to do our best to like, you know, do what's necessary. But apparently this first week is just for like validation, and it kind of makes sense. So just pure validation and habit formation. Okay, we just have to show up and validate, you know, whether or not people whether people need the product. For one thing, I know for a fact that people need this product because I genuinely need it. Like, I will prove that I need it by going ahead and building it. I will realize just how necessary it is. It's one of those things that like proves itself over time, you know. I think maybe the best products are like that. But yeah, so I don't know. I don't think we should skip this. I just think it'll be something that like, you know, manifests itself. So I'm not gonna say we should skip to the build phase. I'm saying we should conceptualize the build phase and start building the infrastructure on top on which we will start building. So I'm talking a simple prototype to begin with and a functional direction to like simply validate something really important. For one thing, I was thinking before of like we could build the ingestion layer, or we could build the sort of not summary generation layer, but like more like a context generation layer, and then it's the exposed layer of the MCP server. The MCP I want to build last, so it's between these two, and I'm thinking it has to be the summary generation layer. That's probably the easiest one because it's probably like a simple running server that can get requests and then, you know, do like it gets information and then you can summarize it and then represent it in like a certain format, and it allows like probably allows like structured querying so that people can like retrieve the data and then get it back in like terms of like text or JSON or something, right? I think that's maybe the easiest one, and then afterwards we'll do the ingestion type. To validate this first phase, we'll probably feed it like raw information, just raw text, just to see that it works. We just have to make sure that it works properly, and we might even iterate on it as we go. Yeah, I think it's probably the best. So let's start on that. We don't want to do anything crazy actually. We'll do like a simple anti-gravity, like a simple, really simple project, really simple. I was tackling something else here, but actually what I like to do is I like to create projects on GitHub, which is why I was actually like creating like a new repo. Let's call it, and then in order for me to actually create this, I was trying to come up with like interesting names. I kind of like Dubstrata. Like we went down a huge rabbit hole where it's like you could pick like different names. I kind of like Substrate, like the meaning of substrate, which is so cool, and it gave me like all these interesting names, like even African names, which is kind of cool. But I kept it Roman, and then I was like, what stuff? Like I thought Kigali was so cool because there's this one song. The guy goes Ikigali, and it goes yeah, okay, never mind. Anyway, it sounds very cool, but it's almost like it knew that I liked dubstep, that it actually recommended Dubstrata, which is a portmanteau of dub, which is a Sumerian tablet. And it's kind of funny because I'm slightly schizo myself, so like, you know what they say about like Sumerian tablets and, you know, like ancient wisdom and all that. Like I have to say I was one of those people who would absolutely believe in the type of stuff that most people don't believe in, like this energy and this Anunnaki stuff. I would absolutely believe that stuff because it somewhat makes sense, like it just a little bit, like if you really like open your mind, most things would make sense. So yeah, if you mix dub and Substrata, then you have like Dubstrata, which is pretty fucking insane. It sounds amazing, Dubstrata. But I'm thinking like I'm like between these two options of saying leaving it as like Substrata, or like going to Dubstrata, like insane. So I'm not sure. I like Dubstrata, so we'll keep it like that. So I will call this Dubstrata, and then we'll develop it as we go. Dubstrata is available. So we're developing the information layer for agents, I guess. And of course it's private. We'll add a README, sure. No licenses for now. Let's create the repo. What I like to do is I like to clone the repo locally, so that I can, like, you know, push to global, just in case this laptop gets hacked and like I can't access my files anymore, and like, oh, you know. So wait, where am I? Oh my god, this is not the right folder. Yeah, that is absolutely not the right folder. Okay, let's go. Let me actually open up the folder here. So we can finally get started on this. It's a blank project. Okay, we want to build something that can take in data and information and then represent it properly for ingestion by agents. For one thing, there's a lot that an agent can request. Like, I was thinking about this yesterday. Like, when you send an agent to a website, you could be asking it to try and understand how a person wrote an article, not just what the person wrote, like that's just the summary of the content, also like the semantic elements of it, so how they wrote it, or what meaning were they trying to, you know, project, like their intent that they were trying to accomplish. there's a lot that you can actually like extract from a piece of text. So we want to represent like all of those layers, I guess you could say. So yeah, for one thing, I will this guy is a bit stupid. Like he's I'm not gonna say Gemini is okay. Gemini is slightly stupid. Maybe it's on fast, that's why. So I put on thinking. So we'll go. Imagine you are tasked with representing all the extractable pieces of information you could get from a large article. So I'm just talking about the summary, but also the semantic elements of the text. Represent all of them as a JSON object. Literally everything you could think of as a JSON schema. Let's see what it comes up with. No. Is this really the best? It drills down into the logic layer. Yeah, I figured that. Okay. So implications, intent. Yeah, it was able to like get that tone. Yeah, exactly. Target audience. Yeah. I'm not sure of this complexity score. I don't know if this is something we would like this model to figure out all by itself, or rather like the prompt for extracting this complexity scoring would need to be valid, right? Like what would it base it on? And it seems like it's somehow hallucinated Apple M4 hardware, and then now it's like becoming more general again. But I really like this actually. Now that I'm looking at it, I really like it. This is fine. Okay, now I need a detail prompt that would extract all this information and return it as JSON object when given some text from a website. This is how I actually prompt like all the time. I think about outcomes and then I work backwards. It's It's a pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I wouldn't say I'm like the best prompter or anything. Like my prompts are like super generic. I always try to push the model to think how I would think, but like giving it like extra pieces of information that seem a bit unnecessary at first. And now it's like hyper fixating on dub stratum because it thinks that's what I want to see, and maybe it is, you know, maybe it is. But again, like sometimes it brings up some old stuff that we were talking about like 2 months ago, which is so annoying. Like that's one of the major things I genuinely don't like. Sometimes these agents are good, but oof, you know, oof. You see this M4 cluster. We were talking about M4 clusters because I was like hosting, you know, an M4 cluster, and now every single thing I come up with this Gemini has something to do with some M4 cluster. Yeah, if you're running this via Olama or LM Studio on your Mac Mini, I recommend adding a system message wrapper to this prompt. Because you focus on token efficiency, you can actually have the model omit the raw text from the JSON entirely. Ooh. This forces the agent to rely solely on the dub strata layer, which is the ultimate test of whether the automation layer is actually doing its job of replacing the source material. Pretty good, pretty good, pretty good. Okay. We need some kind of initialization. Okay, I am building this out. First instantiation prompt so an agent understands how it should initialize this project, so we can start testing out the prompt. This is horrible, actually. This is really horrible. Slow thinking. This is you being slow. Not bad, I guess. Let's just give it the files. It shouldn't matter too much. Just call this init.md. See, this is an agent I created like 10 months ago. That's so horrible, man. Okay, it's just fine. at oh shit. I'll just go right now, Jesus. You're saying it was fuck. Okay, we're back. And the agent is working finally. And it's like building out everything, which is very good. I really like the name Darkstrata, bro. I really like the name. Okay, we would love to test this out with like some dumbass article from like the internet or something. Let's do that real quick. Oh shit. let's find an article. So the recent news. I don't even know. EFF pushes National Assembly to kickstart impeachment process. This is some news from my own country, ladies and gentlemen. And it came out literally today, so very exciting, very exciting. A really short article too. Wow. Are you done? Okay, I need to install the I need to install the requirements. Okay, all of them are getting installed. How does the benchmark efficiency test actually work? I need you to update the readme. Okay. You can now test the extraction engine natively. Make sure you have a Gemini via key 8. What? Okay, I need to actually add a .env file. And I don't want you to see this. So I'm like I don't wanna mess myself up. So I'm just gonna show my handsome face while I fetch my API key. Manage password. Okay. Just give me another moment, buddy. Give me another moment. I'm literally by myself. I feel like one of those guys who actually like post on X to like an audience of 0, and that's literally what I do. Funny enough, no one like reads my tweets at all, but I'll still be posting. Also, I have to admit, this music is incredible. I'm still not exposing my API key. Awesome. Okay. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. I've added a .env file, ideally not exposing the keys. And this guy is done updating the README file, ideally to represent everything we stand for, which is nice. I wonder what would happen if I actually run this benchmark efficiency. I have added a .env file into the environment with a valid API key. Now please check and update the benchmark. Okay. Opa. So we're gonna test this out using this. More importantly, yeah, this is kind of empty for now. We will try and get you to, well, the next command will be to add a getting line and then isolate sensitive files and folders, right? And then the second will probably be like an update based on whatever we find out from the output of the benchmark test. By the way, I actually want to see that because I, funnily enough, am not like a normal vibe coder. I can actually like read Python. Oh, it's giving me like, oh, some sample text. Wow. So it extracts like some substrate JSON file. I've updated the to take in a .env. Pretty cool, pretty good. Wait. Okay, the prompts are right now. So it took that initial prompt and then it put it here. Does that mean I can immediately get rid of this prompt, or? Interesting. Okay, let's try and rerun this. Running bootstrap test on sample. Oh my god, what happened? By the way, this music is kind of chill, you know, kind of vibey. It's perfect music for this. Oh, and we got something back, and mind you, the benchmark test was like some BS. What is density optimization? Compression ratio 0.19. That is interesting. So this compression ratio is effectively, this would be like a 19, it's like a 1/5. Yeah, it's 1/5 of like the initial amount of information in the original text, which is kind of insane when you think about like token savings. But we're still like extracting a lot of information from the text. So if you're like a model, you can still get information on like, you know, the abstract, like, oh, because the article itself was about state space models, like it was about SSMs. State space models such as Mamba are emerging as powerful alternatives to transformers for sequence modeling. Unlike transformers, which have a quadratic computational complexity with respect to sequence length due to their attention mechanism, SSMs offer linear time complexity and constant memory footprint during inference. This makes them highly efficient for long context tasks. Mamba achieves this by utilizing a selective state space model, allowing it to filter out irrelevant information and remember only what's necessary. It's pretty sick. Recent benchmarks saw Mamba outperforming or matching transformers of the same size on various language modeling tasks. By the way, this is probably like super old. It's not recent at all. But that doesn't matter. Right? We were able to get crazy compression. Actually, we should feed this to this model and then tell it to give us an understanding. Give me an understanding of the meaning of this. Okay, anyway, the raw word count of the initial article was 98. I wonder if that's actually like there's 98 words in here. We might actually go back to that initial vignette page. What is it, the tokenizer? 665 characters. How many words are there? Damn. There's 114 tokens, but it doesn't actually say the number of words. I think it should be about 98. I'm not counting all the words. It's crazy how websites like this exist, like just a one simple website that does one simple thing. 94. Do you see this? It's 94. And yet the model said 98. So I guess that's something maybe we shouldn't be leaving up to the model, because they can't do maths anyway. But this is definitely something worth thinking about. Let's note this down. Okay, so number one, again, this ID was auto-generated by the model. That's another thing we can't really allow the model to do. So I guess I'll just separate this into sections. Metadata. Stratified tokens. This is funny because the tokenizer is saying that now I have to open it up again. Was it 114? It said it's 114. And now it's saying 500. Doesn't really make sense. Weird, okay. So now this entire compression ratio thing is also starting to make less and less sense. Apparently the compression ratio is the metric output in your terminal, essentially how well that driver did at token arbitrage refers to a few highly valuable tokens. I'm not sure if this is a measure of the complete prompt plus article or just the article itself. We shouldn't count the prompt. Maybe this needs to be first calculation. Okay. Number 5. Let's look at the structure objects. I should do like proper markdown formatting since it's like, you know, no, it shouldn't be involved. Headlines is currently taking the intro and conclusion. Actually, no, this is fine. The headlines structure, like, this is fine. So the abstract was a state-space models like Mamba are computationally efficient filtering with 2 transformers for sequence mining, offering linear time, complexity, and competitive performance by selectively filtering information. Pretty good. Context fragments. Is Mamba powerful? Mamba's demonstrated performance is either superior or equivalent to transformer models of a comparable size. Context fragments? It's interesting. Ah, okay, yeah. Okay, now I'm getting it. So the stratified token is a measure of No, the structure doesn't actually make sense. So that's why it flagged my error. Going. Now it's having like atomic facts. There's even a knowledge graph. So interesting. That's really useful. Like, I feel like that's like super useful. Like the graph information, that could be useful for like searching later on. Like, you know, because like agents will be querying this, and so that the most relevant information comes back. We want to be able to like know exactly what they want based on the perceived intent that they're giving us. That's pretty cool. How does the Google search work, man? And then finally, the logic layer. State-based models like Mamba are more efficient and equally performant alternative to transformers for long sequence modeling. That's really interesting. Okay. SSMs are more computationally efficient than transformers, especially for long sequences. Unlike transformers, which have a quadratic computational complexity with respect to sequence length, SSMs offer linear time complexity and constant memory footprint during inference. That's interesting. Okay. What specific benchmarks were used to compare Mamba? I'm not convinced that this would actually return less information given more information. Like, let me go to medium.com and like get an article in pure HTML and then try to run it. Yeah, this is sick, man. So I was looking at the intelligence stubs. These are amazing. I want you to look at creating the relational layer for later search purposes. Something to implement. There we go. And the logic layer is due to their linear time complexity state-space models. semantic signals. To introduce and advocate for a new technology by highlighting its advantages over an existing standard. All the complexity score based on and then in general, I need you to add a new section called security and alerts. And here we're going to add jailbreaking prompts on convictions if I'm in text. This is awesome. Okay. And finally, let's save it and then look at findings on text. This okay, while that's running, I think we are making like a really good start because we can expand this logic, right? Like as much as we need to.
It is the highest high.
We're going to the moon.
I love the schizo stuff.
Incredible views of Earth.
Ils ont utilisé les mêmes nuages sur les deux images. C'est censé être l'Afrique, de jour et de nuit, avec exactement le même angle. Donc environ 12 heures plus tard. Et les nuages n'ont pas bougé. Parce que ce ne sont pas des photos, ce sont des images de synthèse, comme toutes les images du globe. Alors soit la NBC s'est trompée dans la sélection du graphiste,
Sélection géographiste. Bro is like deep in the schizo.
I built this thing that's now being used by thousands of people every single day. And the crazy part is, they're not even using it for what I made it for. This is Clicky. It's this cute little AI buddy that lives next to your cursor and can teach you anything in real time. I made a reel about it on IG last week. It got nearly 1 million views, 10,000 downloads, and I even got my first 100 paying customers. I originally built Clicky as a tool to help people learn new things, but now people are using it in ways that I would have never imagined. There's this 11-year-old kid who's using it to make his own RPG game. There's this guy using it to build an iPhone app around mental health for his Instagram community. There are even founders at Y Combinator using it to help them research their competitors. You know, you never really know what people are going to use your product for until you actually give it to them. Build the thing and show people early. That's all you can really do. I'm going to keep making videos, stuff that I'm working on. If you're curious, hit follow. Can I go home now, please? 2 weeks ago, I was in my apartment trying to figure out a cool idea to work on.
Hi, I'm Summer and I'm building my companion robot Gigi. Today, I'll try to make Gigi to be able to see. This is an ESP32 cam. It's a tiny board with a camera that can take photos and even save them to an SD card. I need this separate programmer board to upload the code to it. I
That's
connected
pretty cool.
it to the round display so that I can see what Gigi sees through the camera. And I had so much fun taking these real-time videos. But here's the problem. First, the SD card and the display use the same GPIO pins, so I can only use either one. And second, the camera board and my main ESP32 board are still two separate boards. So the next challenge is figuring out how to combine these two boards and fix this hardware limitation. Follow me to see how I solve it. Today is day 6 of building my dream robot. Hi, I'm Summer.
Very cool. Very cool. Wow, people, you can just like literally just like wake up and like build things. It's so cool. I hope he actually like went ahead and fixed the issues though. I've read through the findings, you want and implemental feedback is what I did. The tone of the interface, I created a CLI.py, the root of the project. You can ingest massive strings of text directly through the standard input. Oh, interesting. I can echo into it, that's pretty cool. You can just like... I think now would probably be a good time. What I want to do is I want to get like... let's go to a Medium article. Some article about League of Legends, whatever. I want to get the HTML content. How do I copy it? View page source. Oh, but you see, like they'll just like hide all this information behind like scripts that provide the data. Let me just like copy it over and paste it. I feel like the text content doesn't even exist here. Oh, look at this. Ugh. Like, how do they even track the... Okay, no, I'm pretty sure they post encode them so that they don't, like, other people don't know what styles they're using and they can't like steal that type of stuff. But still, it's so boring. See, this is what I'm talking about. Like, most of the stuff that you get from like pure web pages is just like useless things you don't want to see. Media membership, image upload, like what is all this stuff? Tags, League of Legends, content previews. Most of it is useless stuff. I would love to get the HTML code. Like, I feel like there has to be an extension. Let's see if we can use this. Awesome. The download was interrupted. Wonderful stuff. Let's try running this though. Completely refactored the schema validator. We added the LLM is no longer responsible for ID generation or math. Okay, awesome. Naturally it validates the raw word count programmatically. Awesome. Now using count tokens API strictly on the input text against the output tokens. Awesome. Complexity score to the schema and the prompt. Amazing. The model is now instructed to aggressively scan the text for prompt injections, jailbreak prompt, malicious payloads and return them as a list of warnings natively in the substrate JSON. Yes, that's exactly what I'm about to do, buddy. Let's just save. Let's do it. Python, let's see that. And prompt dot. Yeah. I was supposed to reference that in this folder. Oh, it's dash F. $6,432 words. This is a stain on my token usage, by the way. Okay, while that's going, let's check on, yeah, save HTML is not gonna work. It's a shame we can't copy this over either. We're hiring. Most of the stuff that the model is getting is BS that it doesn't even need, but it's able to extract the proper information, right? And this time we actually got like a proper compression ratio, 29. We're winning, ladies and gentlemen. We're winning finally. Really? Is that what the article is about? Holy. this is pretty impressive. And of course it didn't find any security alerts, unfortunately, but this is like really good progress that we're making. I mean, we do the final thing at the end of the day. So I think our main things to do tomorrow is to, so like we validated that we have like a proper structure going, and this is a structure that we can actually like build on top of. The nice thing is that if it comes down time to actually build the MCP server, we can expose not only the entire scheme, but also like they can drill down and find like certain pieces of information. And if something is like, we find that there's like security issues, we can literally tell people to not go there. And I think that's like one of the most valuable things. Like, agents will literally know if there's like some prompt injection there, and then they don't have to go there and get messed up. Right? That's like super valuable. So we're just like fighting and scrubbing. I wouldn't say it's complete, but I would say it's complete. And yeah, we will continue this tomorrow. You have been watching me do this for a few hours now, so thanks for watching, and I will see you when I see you. Bye.